Who in here has fallen and didn't want to get up? A few of you, okay. So here's Kevin Ware. He played for the Louisville Cardinals as a guard in 2013, and they played against Duke in the Elite Eight. And just like any other time, a basketball player has to contest their opponent at the three-point line. And as many times as he did, he went and he contested the three-point shot, and he landed just like any other time. But this time he snapped. His tibia snapped, and as you can see in the photo, it was a pretty devastating moment for him. And at this moment, he is going through a lot, and he has to understand he can get up, or he can stay down and don't play basketball ever again. But as you can see in the next photo, he played for Georgia State the next year, and as you can see, he has a lot of accessories on his legs, so he can have protection maybe better this time. But it actually helps because I did it before too. And after that season, he went to go over to the Euro League to play in the professional league for the BC Brunos, and he's still playing now. So 90% of student athlete reports a sports-related injury, from the National Athletic Training Association, and also 54% of athletes reported playthrough injury from that same association. And with that being said, my name is Trayman Gray, and I had the same devastating moment just as Kevin Ware did, and I had to play, but instead I played through the injury. And how I grew up was I was always asked, how bad do you want it? And that always motivated me and pushed me to keep going and never give up. And that doesn't have to be just for athletes. It could be for anyone in life, because everybody has a hill to get over, or a bump, or a couple bruises to get over or recover from. And so here are my two photos I have. But from Johns Hopkins Medicine website, I've learned that 3.5 million injuries for athletes per year. And me and my pops, we were part of that statistic. And in these two photos, you can see that this is my junior year, and that layup right there with my right hand is the wrist I broke. And I had to play through that injury. But before that happened, I went to the doctor when I broke it. I was playing basketball, and I went up for a layup, and I was bridged under my leg, and I fell. And I knew something bad was going to happen when I was going down. And I knew immediately. I went down, it snapped back, and I tried to snap it back in place. And I told my friends, I said, can you take me to the hospital? But instead, they took me home to my stepfather, and he asked me, are you all right? And I'm like, well, I broke my wrist. And so then he rushed me to the hospital, and they told me that it'll heal on its own. They didn't give me a cast at first, but they gave me a brace. And then I had to go back a few days later, and they finally gave me a cast. They don't know why he didn't give me a cast the first time, but I didn't know, I had no idea. And I ended up taking that cast off 2.5 weeks later, because I knew the season was coming up. And I wanted to play that year so bad because it was my junior year, and I know the year before that wasn't how I wanted it to be. And as I played, as you can see, I played through that season, and we ended up winning the city championship versus Bucktown at Akron University. And it was an amazing accomplishment that anyone can go through. And for my stepfather, before I get to this, my stepfather, he played for Toledo University, and he was a linebacker, 6'1", 260 pounds. And he was that linebacker playing against, I believe it was Central Michigan, he told me. And they had a running back, and he was going to the right. It was a sweep, halfback sweep to the right. And my stepfather met him at the angle, and back then they was very passionate about the game. And he went to tackle him with his hands, and his fingers got caught in the face mask, and he came down and his fingers was broken. So he rushed to the sideline, they looked at his fingers and they popped it back in place, wrapped it up, and he continued to play just as I did my junior year, and I believe they ended up winning that game. So that's just the determination that I grew up around and how I was raised. In this chart, you can see that the competition and practice ratio between athletes in the competition and in practice, how much they get injured, and the exposures they are per 1,000 athletes. But what they don't have up here is the women's gymnastics. And women's gymnastics would be their ratio should be up there just as men's football is, from my research from CDC, which is Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And I was wondering how the women's gymnastics was up so far up there, and it's because of all the muscles that they use during their practice and competition. They much has a higher rate than any other sports that you see up there. I like this picture because, well, I chose this picture because it tells me to get back. It tells you and everyone to get back up. No matter how far or how deep you are in the hole or how far down you are, you can always get back up. It might be tough, but you can always get back up. And you can see this person on the top of the mountain or hill, how much he's accomplished. You can tell that he's accomplished something. His goal or something he couldn't do or had a hard time doing, he got back up and he made it to the top. Lastly, I have to say, is from Oprah Winfrey. She says, "Challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand." And that touched me a lot because much people don't know how to adapt. And nowadays you have to adapt because new things can hit you at any moment. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.